Next project on one of many is this 2017 Fiat 124 Spyder. My wife always wanted to have a fun car. I've got two Fiat X19s, one with a Abarth turbocharged engine in it, and this actually has the same engine, but it's not a Sidewinder, it's inline. We took this car to the Fiat Freak Out 2025 in the Wisconsin Dells, and we were on a wine tour. And unfortunately, another car beside us, a blue Spyder, the lady opened the door on the passenger side and it swung into this car here. Just to give you an idea, so we've got this ding here, and of course you can see it's raised. And apart from that, I mean, the rest of the car looks great. We bought it with 7,500 kilometers or 5,000 miles if you're south of the border, and it currently has 21,000 kilometers, about 14,000 miles on it. So you can see, people were coming up to us at the show and said, you know, how many miles are on this car? Look at that damn engine. It's clean, and it, well, because we never drive it in the rain, we don't drive it in the winter. She's had it since 2019. She's had it for 7 years, and only managed to put on another 9,000 miles. So it gives you an idea how much it really sees the weather. So anyways, what I want to do here, and unfortunately it's not going to be an easy task. That's got to be bumped out, and I don't want to sit there and pick at it with a hammer or a punch. So I'll give you a shot. I've taken the inner off of it so I can take a look and see what's going on in here. And it appears, I drew a yellow line around here. I don't have my light with me right now to be able to take a better look in there, but right in here where my fingers are is where the dent is. So what I want to do is first off, I don't want to paint the whole door, but I want to get rid of the body ding, the displacement of the metal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some molding wax on here, and then I'm going to tape it up, and I'm going to do a cast of the body of that part, and then I'll make an aluminum punch and a die, and I've got a big C-clamp, and I'm going to straddle the glasses out, and push it gently back into shape. So I've never done this before. I've done lots of things, but to me this seems like the only thing, or only way I can actually get at this to do it the way I want. And then what I'll do is I'll clean it afterwards and go to the auto body paint supplier and get some paint. Out of all of this, there was a lot of sorries being said, and we didn't mean it, and we you know, wish it didn't happen. And you know, the guy talked large about knowing cars and what they're all about. So he gave us 20 bucks for the paint. I have a funny feeling this is looks like a base coat with a pearl coat with a clear coat. I'm not sure how small of quantities I can get from the paint shop, and what I want to do is put it on with an airbrush and then just kind of buff it in, cut it in with some fine sandpaper, and then buff it and go from there. So we'll see where this goes. So I've made a cardboard mold, or a box, and if you look real close you can see this is where the dent is, right here beside it. So that profile to me looks fairly close. I don't think it's going to vary that much, and I'm going to cast it out of body filler, and it's been waxed inside, not the cardboard but on the body. And then I'm going to have to try to measure the thickness of the body metal to know what the other side of the die the punch is going to have to be. The reciprocating side is the die, and the forcing side is the punch. Chances are, based on the low angle here, I'm probably going to just take a block of aluminum and put it in my milling machine over there, which is covered up. I can show pictures of that after, and mill the angles off of it. Now I do also have the option of making these two pieces and putting it in some casting sand and doing a heat of aluminum and pouring them. That's also an option. I use a Petrobond sand, so I'm going to get very, very close replication of the detail I need. So we'll see how it goes. Alright, the Bondo has been poured, and you can see all the levels about here, which is good. That's going to give me lots of room to work with. And I'll remove that, and that will be the die, and then I'll have to work on the reciprocal, the punch, and then again I'll make them out of aluminum. Currently I'm making the punch and the die that I've taken impressions off. So this is the pattern, and I'm copying the angles that are here. And to get this radius, this gentle radius that's inside here, what I've got is a big router bit. So that's going to be my solution to that problem. Okay, this is the punch, and there's a die, and the radius I'm going to just do by hand. But I've got the angles right and the sizes right, so it's just a matter of finishing off a little bit and then mounting it to the clamp, which I will show in a little bit. This is a shot of the tool, which is in this bigger C clamp, welding clamp, designed so that it has a bit of float so it finds its own center. I've also trimmed the punch and the die down to reflect the same size that was here. It was a little bit longer, maybe about 3/8 of an inch, but noticing what's on the door, it starts to change its profile a bit once it gets past that. So I don't want to make this any different than what actually the pattern was that I took off the door. So, and on the car, what I've got is just a piece of yellow tape and mark the center line for where the ding is. And now I'm going to put the clamp on it and try to push that dent out. So I'm going to be pushing this part out, but then on either side it's displaced. So it's got to be pushed in above and below the dent and pushed out at the dent. As I proceed with this challenge, I didn't have enough area here to clear the door. So I had to weld in these little 1 inch by 3/4 inch pieces. The clamp was relatively soft. I just cut it in a metal bandsaw that just had a regular HS steel blade, HSS blade, and welded these in with 7018 rod. So that's hopefully going to get me past where I need to be, and I can now push that little door ding out. So here I am trying to get this sorted out. As you can see, this is the die. I extended the clamp to make it bigger to be able to span where I needed to get it. It was close, but I added about 2.5 inches, and then I don't know if we can see in there. There is the punch. Maybe we can get in there a little bit. It's a little bit difficult to get in there with a camera, but I'm pressing it out, and we'll see how that works out. Now, the only thing I didn't calculate was what we call in metalworking comeback, where you deflect a piece of metal a certain amount, and then what happens is it has elasticity that makes it want to come back. So I'm not quite sure how far that's going to affect it. We'll see shortly. So I've taken it, and you can see where it has rubbed against the plastic protector. The bulk of the dent went up, but this now feels flat. This little bit here feels flat. There does feel to be just a little bit of depression here, but that may be because the paint was chipped off of it, and that's what I'm feeling. So once I got this clamped up, what I did was I went to the back with a hammer. I held on to everything and gave it a tap just to try to push this out a little bit more. So right now I don't feel anything, but I'm going to pull the tape off, see how it looks, and possibly all that I'm feeling right now is just ever so slightly where there's no paint, because the paint did come off in this area. So what I've done is I used an airbrush and I've painted this area, And then I painstakingly, over quite a bit of time, sanded it down with 800 paper to try to reduce the amount of buildup that I had here. The dent was, or the chip was considerable, so the primer still held, but we had to get some more base coat in there. So the base coat's on there, but when I was sanding, I can just see ever slightly a little haze here from the primer trying to shine through. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit, a real thin coat of base coat on here, thinned out, and let that dry, and then I'll do the pearl, and then cover it up again with some clear and let it dry overnight, and try to buff it in tomorrow, or I may use a blender and blend it in that way. I've put a very light coat of base coat on, and I've since put the pearl coat on, and it's becoming harder and harder for me to see where I have to spray. The color looks like it's matched relatively well, and it's just a matter of putting the clear on and buffing it in, or I may use a blender. I'm not sure. Still at this, wasn't really happy. What I did was I put the base coat on and the pearl coat, but I didn't put enough pearl coat to cover the base coat, and of course you can see it. So I sanded it down again with 400, then 800, and what I've done is it gets hard to see where the damaged area is, so I put these pieces of green tape to try to help me identify where the center is, where I've got to be. And I've reshot it again just with the base coat. Well, it doesn't look too bad, but it's going to need the pearl coat put on, and that's what's coming next. And then finally, the clear coat will go on top of that. At this point, I put the pearl coat back on again, and I don't know, I can see some shadows. And this is why normally when you get this kind of a problem, even though it's a small ding, you typically would sand the whole door down and base coat, pearl coat, clear coat, and buff it. And in this case, if I was going to do it again, I would suggest, or I would think, possibly I'd take the door handle off, I'd take the mirror off, I might even take the whole door off and lay it on the flat just to make it a little easier to paint. And she's got one little ding right down here. I don't know how that happened. A little bit hard to see, but maybe that can see it. I tried to see if I could push it out from the back, but you can't, because the door's got a really big lip. This is where it's already doubled up. You can't get in there. So unfortunately, if I had to do that, I'd have to fill it and feather it out, primer it, and go from there. That's a clear coat on. I've got 3 coats on it. Still has to be buffed in or sanded down a little bit, color sanded, but I think I can still see shadows with it. I'm not 100% happy with it, and that's why normally you paint the whole door. And you know, a little dent in the door is $500. That's between the paint and the labor. It could even be more than that today. So oh well, that's how things go. I have completed this door just with doing that one small spot, and like it always is, depending on the angle, it looks okay. And then when you get to a different angle, whether this camera will pick it up or not, there's a little bit of ghosting here and over here where the color of the paint is slightly different, the color of the pearl slightly different, and then of course the nozzle that the pearl gets put out with has an effect on how it lays. And the reality is, if you want the door to look good without a patch on it, you've got to paint the whole door. So possibly in the spring or in the summer, I will take it on as a project, and I think what I'll do is I'll take the mirror off, take the door handle off, take the door off, strip it all off, put it on the flat on a set of horses, and do it, sand it down, base coat it, fix that little dent that I showed already that's over here, and put the door back on and together. So that's the only way to do it, really. And my truck had fenders that had rusted through, and it was under warranty from when it was new. They put 2 new fenders on it, and literally they blended it in, but they kind of faded in on the doors on either side, and then re-clear coat it so it's not noticeable. But again, expensive to do. So yeah, I would say to do this now, you're probably looking $500-600 to repaint a door. Anyways, that's how it goes. Thank you for watching.